Hey guys, shout out to the four people who liked the video already. Yeah, so I did a reading this morning. Like, I got up and I did a reading on Patreon, and it was very centered around mental health. And I was really triggered over the past couple of days. And what was triggering was actually the different vantage point that I now have because of me healing my own mental health issues. And all I'm going to do today is we're going to have a chat. We're going to have a discussion. Obviously, I have no cards, but I'm going to share with you my thoughts on mental health, um, society. So, not just personally, but and internally, but externally and collectively. My thoughts surrounding mental health. Because what I was channeling was essentially that there's this weird confusion, and because of the collective's heightened sense of consciousness, a lot of these illusions are starting to become clear, okay? Clearer. And one of these illusions that I tapped into, remember I was going off about the whole the twin flame 144 illusion that I was tapping into, and then I was tapping into it about the mental health in society. And I'm not a doctor, and I understand that certain mental health issues are actually linked to things within the brain. I don't want to call them abnormalities because essentially, like, if you study psychopaths, you can scan a psychopath's brain and see the abnormality on their brain, meaning the part of their brain that's enlarged, and that's a pattern. And the part of the brain that becomes enlarged, I forget the name of it, but essentially it impacts impulsiveness. So extreme, like really hard time with impulsion control and lack of empathy, right? So that's a different kind of mental health. And why I put in the title Everyday Mental Health Issues was because I feel like some of you guys are starting to look at mental health differently because of what you're seeing and being triggered. So what I was triggered with was I saw somebody who was talking about themselves in third person very heavily. And it always kind of triggered me when people did that and I didn't know why. And I'm not talking about, like, using talking in third person in isolated conversations in certain ways. I'm not talking about none of that. We're talking about, like, heavily relying on explaining themselves, how they feel, their past, whatever, in third person, and it being indicative of this separation. It's like, what I looked at, it looked like to me that there was an entity speaking through that human being about the human being. And let's say it's not an external entity, because that's a whole different conversation. The difference between when they say you have, like, inner demons. I only believe we're supposed to have one, and it's our own shadow, and then every other one we have to learn how to exercise out of ourselves. But anyways, I'm gonna try not to lose track here. Um, but yeah, I'm losing track of what I'm saying. Hi guys. Hey guys, we're not pulling cards. We're just having an open conversation about mental health because it seems like that's going to be a focus. It is Aquarius season, and we talked about Aquarius season bringing a heavy emphasis on the mind, getting us to have clear thoughts, more stable in our mind, because that stability is essentially going to be reflected externally to us, right? But it starts from here. The laws of the universe, the number one law, it starts from the mind. But anyways, so I'm watching this person speak in third person really heavily, and it looked like, if, say, for example, it's their shadow was so removed from them. If you ask them about their trauma, their shadow will communicate to you, but it'll speak, or your higher self will communicate, but it's almost like far removed. So if you're speaking about the younger version of yourself, you'll be like, I don't know that girl, or, she, or you're not referring to it as you, me. Many of you guys refer to because that shows a lack of union between you and your inner child. Thank you, Organic Blackberry. Thank you to everyone who donates. It shows a lack of union between you and your inner child. For some of you, it's your higher self. Your higher self isn't coming into union with the rest of your soul because it's not accepting the shadow for being a pivotal part of the soul. So you'll speak about your lower vibrational feelings and thoughts and experiences as if it's something externally to you. Like, yeah, she went through that, or, she, he, they, right? So I'm now looking at that differently. I'm looking at somebody speaking because it can trigger you into thinking someone's a narcissist. But I already told you guys, let's look deeper. We have the capacity to do that. And now I see that when people speak in a third, like in a third person, that they're disconnected from themselves, right? What was the other triggering? The gaslighting. Okay. Gaslighting is a form of mental illness, guys. And then it brought me to the society we live in. Our entire government is gaslighting us about this whole COVID vaccine situation. We didn't say this or that. It's manipulation. This is why there's so much mental health in our society, because the people that are in power are ill mentally. And we know that because they're psychopaths. They killed a bunch of people. They raped, murdered, experimented on human beings. This whole testing vaccines and shots is old news and has been happening in history for a long time. So our system is literally being run by the mentally ill. So if our government gaslights us, it validates our shadow into thinking we can do that too, instead of allowing the higher self to bring forth the truth, right? So you might be seeing people gaslighting, and your approach to it isn't, oh, you're a fucking liar. Your approach isn't, let me try to spin my wheels trying to prove the truth. No, it's accepting the illness for what it is, and that somebody is removed out of union with the truth. Guys, we talk so much about union energy. There's levels to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming into union with what? With who? And for many of us, it's our soul. And it's the truth. And it's the reality of things. And I just felt like people are struggling. I know me personally, the mental health issues that I had to heal within myself were that. Me gaslighting others and myself. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You get what I'm trying to say? It's like I was ill. I was removed from my own reality. People are like, what do you mean you don't have a shadow? I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So of course I went mad when I woke up and saw my shadow one day. It was like a fucking nightmare, because I had been lying to myself that my pain and my wounding created this energy within me, right? So I hope this video, it's not going to be long, but I hope it empowers you guys to know that you heal your own mental health issues. And I'm not talking about, because personally, where I felt like there was this confusion and this mix up was, if you look at how the mentally ill and what we as society classify as mentally ill has very much to do with this ascension process. Bipolar, that's exploring the polarities in you. And when I was struggling with that, I purposely didn't go to any mental health facility to seek help in that, because I knew what they were going to tell me. And they were going to try to make me do drugs. The first time I ever quit smoking, I went to the doctor because the withdrawal was giving me headaches because I didn't know what to eat to help. When you're an addict and you go into withdrawal, you are artificially creating serotonin in your brain. So when you stop taking the drug that gives you that dopamine and that serotonin, your neurotransmitters are fried. So essentially they have to recreate themselves in order to naturally bring dopamine to the brain again. So I'm getting headaches. My brain's like malfunctioning. I'm like, what the fuck? My brain's trying to reproduce. I didn't know what to eat. So anyways, I go to the doctor. Within 5 minutes, all I tell this fool is that I have headaches. And this guy is already writing down the antidepressant that he wants me to take. I cuss the dog shit out of him, and I realized I'm on my own and I need to do the research about how to live healthier and help my own brain. So yeah, it was weed. Even with the weed, well, you'd be surprised. Weed is highly addictive. I had really bad weed, but I was also smoking that high grade shit. Where now I like smoke cess and stuff, and like I still smoke high grade, but it's not the same. My addiction has been like a slow ascend up out of it, out of the habits, out of all that shit. But anyway, I was noticing that society would deem certain people that I, from my own spiritual journey, was like, you're ascending. Like I remember I was chilling with my friends once and I was chilling at this spot and this guy would come around and they would call him nuts, crazy, but the man would let him chill and smoke. He would come through in and out. And one day he was having a psychosis. These mandem have known him since he was young, so they would literally play video games, smoke, and this guy's mumbling about, and all they would tell him every now and then was to be quiet or shut up, dude. Like, yo, bro, like, stop with that weird chat. You know what I'm saying? That's all. They weren't actually listening to my guy. So, yo, I'm there one day and he comes and he's in like a full fucking psychosis, blood. And I'm stoned. And I just sit there and I listen to him. I just listened to him. He's talking about how he has wings and he's flying. And I really listened to him. He was talking about Archangel Michael or Gabriel, one of them. He was channeling archangels. He was talking about spiritual warfare. But because he was in a completely different realm, the way he's describing it, it looks crazy. But if you really tapped into what you were, I listened to this guy for like 20, 30 minutes straight, just fucking blah, 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 like going off. And he was channeling, because I didn't realize until years later, like, my God, that guy was channeling shit that I'm learning now. You get what I mean? So he wasn't, we don't, I feel like we're really quick to judge mental health. And because we're ascending in this spiritual journey, that we have to link some of what we see to this journey. I would have been deemed bipolar. Now I've ascended and I don't believe I'm bipolar. I would have even believed them if they told me. Quite frankly, I don't even think I went because I knew they would call me bipolar. But now that I've ascended, I've learned the laws of the universe. What was I doing? I was exploring my polarities from the pits of the darkness to the brightest of my light. And it was affecting my mood. And maybe it would have been a lot easier in society to deal with people like this if we respect the process and what's happening with them and encourage them to channel that energy in healthy ways instead of feeling like society's going to attack us if we're going through these things, when really the people who are judging people through growing through the spiritual ascension process, telling them they're losing their mind when they're really gaining it, are the people who are mentally ill. These are the people who gaslight, manipulate, lie to themselves and others. Our governments, they're gaslighting and lying to us, guys. You're telling me you don't see that? They've insulted our intelligence, but they've been doing this in society. Guys, they got us to believe that we can live peacefully on a land that is soiled and soaked in the blood of our ancestors. That's ill. That's ill. Making us pay taxes. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is, we are being led by mentally ill people. Okay? So understand that's where a lot of this dysfunction in society occurs. The ill are governing us. We pay the ill. We have the ill getting us to do all kinds of things like voting and taking shots and doing all kinds of stuff. And then telling us we're sick if we don't do it. We're sick if we question outside the matrix. We're ill. Right? So I don't know what this video will do. I just literally, I'm lying here, like, I'm gonna get up and do things. And I'm like, nah, like, I channeled that message in the morning. And it was funny because on the little picture, I look mentally ill. Like, I look like I'm losing my goddamn mind because it was just because I woke up and I just felt inspired to do it. But then it didn't stop there. And I'm like, let me bring it to the YouTube and see what the rest of the crew thinks about this and if they resonate with this, because I I I know that the ill have been leading us and have they're psychopaths, so they'll kill anybody. It's like it's gaslighting to the fullest, right? Making you, society, believe you're ill when these powers that be, they're psychotic, really, are the ill ones, you know. And I feel like this whole COVID was showed us that. But because the programming is so deep, you'll still trust these psychotic people to tell you what the future looks like, what it should be, when all they've shown you was slavery. We talked about coming out of the psychological warfare that the transatlantic slave trade instilled in us, which we're doing with the union of self, right? But a lot of this psychology, what's the basis of it is the gaslighting, is the manipulation, it's the lack of accountability. Blame is a mental illness. Can you believe that? You know, our brains aren't programmed to do that naturally. You're programmed to take accountability. Why? Because accountability is linked to survival and thriving. So that's what's in our natural DNA to do. Let's take accountability so we can move forward. That's why the animals don't forgive each other. They're not sitting around having conversations about forgiveness, right? So when people lack accountability, instead of being frustrated and trying to force accountability at them, see their ineptness, see the illness, see how they're sick, see how they're unable. Because then it will get you to deal with them differently. Because I'm telling you right now, us attacking and demonizing each other for this is only making us more sick mentally, which is why the suicide rates are skyrocketing. It's not because people are trapped in their homes. It's because people are terrified to face the truth, which is themselves. People are killing themselves because they know the truth, and everything around them, including society, tells them it's a lie, and that there's something wrong with them. Wouldn't that make you ill too? Wouldn't that make you feel like you're losing your goddamn mind? When somebody gaslights you, doesn't it make you think you're crazy? Do you see? That's projection. Projection is a mental illness. And guys, don't project anything we talked about today on anybody else other than yourself first, because I healed my own mental health issues, and it wasn't me being bipolar, because that was just me exploring the polarities of my soul. It was the gaslighting, the lack of accountability, the projection. That was how I was ill. That's how I let my mental illness live outside of me, and that's what I healed. We healed together. So please, guys, if you know anybody struggling with mental health, narcissism, I see narcissism. The first thing I see, narcissism, big capital letters. Guys, narcissistic people are the most insecure people in our society that can't live with the truth about who they are because they were told they weren't worth anything. You know, me and my mom were having a conversation. You know why old people, like why people as they get older have been relying more on things like plastic surgery and shit? Because society tells our elders that once you reach a point in society where you can't work anymore and if you're other than raising grandchildren, you have no purpose. So you have all of our elders carving themselves up because society tells them if you don't perpetuate and project somebody of young, then we can't use you. What? So there's a lot of psychological issues in our society that are being triggered up. I know within me, it's Aquarius season. Guys, you're all the signs. So allow the Aquarian in you to ground and anchor into the season, and you'll see through the veil. But because of all the work you did to heal your heart, you'll be able to have the heart capacity, because you guys are going to be triggered by dealing with people who are mentally ill. And it's either because your higher self has reached a level of consciousness where you can see the illness for what it is outside of yourself, because you identified it internally, or because people around you are going through awakenings. Okay? And they're actually not ill. Society would say they're ill, but they're actually gaining their fucking mind. So cheer them on, support them. Use your own ascension journey and awakening as a point of reference and support for them so that they know they're not alone. Depression is at an all-time high. Well, because essentially the veil's thinning and people see that society has made us believe we're worthless, all so that society can dictate to you what to buy in order to feel worthy. If we had worth within, a lot of the industries, like look at the beauty industry. The beauty industry, it's so funny. The beauty industry is made to make us feel pretty, but how many women don't feel pretty unless they have makeup, lace front wigs, all this shit? Do you see how the veil is? But it makes me feel beautiful. It makes me feel great. Does it really? Has the beauty industry really supported you in feeling that way? Or did it feed off of the mental health issues you had surrounding your own dysmorphia of self? Meaning you look in the mirror and you don't love what you see. And why don't you love it? That's why I discussed Barbie. You know what I'm saying? Because Barbie was a marketing scheme planted in the homes of children in order to get them to live up to a standard of beauty, and would pay nickel and dime, whatever it was, from the tips of our nails to our hair to carving out our body to attain it. And then our celebrities all look this way, and society pays them and puts them on a pedestal, which makes us then further believe that we aren't anything unless we mirror them. These are the mental health issues we have in our society. You know, and I don't know, I hope this helps you guys. Know that I go through it too. I take pride in the mental health issues I've been able to ascend, that I acknowledge. I thank my fellow brothers and sisters who have been vulnerable enough to share. They struggle with it too. And let's be proud of what we've ascended past. But let's not make it put us on some kind of high horse. We're meant, if you've healed yourself, it's meant to support others in healing. If you've got yourself out of the mud, all you have to do is give a hand and help, you know? Anyways, guys, I love you guys. I don't know why I'm feeling emotional, because I just feel like I wish I could have this conversation with certain people who killed themselves. Like, I wish I could have been there, in a sense, you know, to tell them exactly this, that they're okay and they're not sick and they'll be fine. But I get to tell you guys. So the camera's way too close to my face for me to be able to cry right now. Usually I'm about like 1.5 feet out. It's too vulnerable. It's too much. Look away. I'm just joking. Shit. Let's gain our minds together, collective. Hey, Sistrid, thank you. Hey, guys. I'm going to try to do this more often. I mean, I do it on the Patreon. We chat about all kinds of shit. But I can be vulnerable here too. You know? And I hope this helps you guys. I want to read some of your comments before I run away. I get vulnerable and then I'm like, okay, bye, guys. Let's see what you guys are saying. And inspire, think higher, and inspire. Spiritual Sage's son commits suicide. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've seen that, reader. Yeah. That's our fellow sister in the community. Prayers and support be to her at this time. Fuck, yo. Yeah, this is Patreon vibes. Yeah, these are the vibes we do on Patreon, but I didn't really feel, I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable like that on here. You know, and that's an illusion. Thank you, Lady T. That's what I'm doing this for. That's why I believe the divine was like, just do it, just do it, just go. They wouldn't let me think about anything else. Thanks, Chill Vibes. Thanks, Lauren K. Thanks, Medicine. You have a beautiful day too. spreading the knowledge of your frankincense here in Florida. A. Can't wait to bring you guys. We're going to go to, when we go to Ghana at the end of the year, we're going to go to Burkina Faso. The borders are still shut down, but they should be open by then. And we're going to go see the frankincense communities, the trees, meet the people and everything. So the content is going to expand. So I'm going to try to really keep it organized in the library. Because I'm going to be posting all kinds of shit. I'm not going to be in a box, and I just want to be free. Like I tell you guys to be free. I want to vlog a little bit. Look what I got. I got a GoPro. So I'm going to be vlogging and shit when we get out on the road and whatnot. The 3 cups, we're going to go to Jamaica. We're gonna do the like a tour, like we're gonna do these events, and then we're gonna do Ghana by the grace of God. But it's not even by the grace of God, it's all just in divine timing. It's already written, it's already manifested. We've all seen it, you know? So yeah. And you'll be with us because we're gonna vlog it all. And the sound is a lot better on the GoPro than it is on my laptop. I know you guys want me to update the AV. I feel you guys. I hear you guys in the ethers being like, I fucks with you, D. But the AV, man, the audio visual will be off. I'm working on it. All right. I love you guys. Okay. And until the next time I see you, beautiful people, pull your sword of truth out from your gut and hold on to it like it's the only thing that matters and it's the only thing that's real. Because to a very big extent, it is. Don't let people question your process. Take it up with God, take it up with your ancestors. They try to validate you and tell you you're good and you're on point and it's the truth. And it's so funny when you ground yourself in your truth, how people follow. The same people who try to get you to relinquish your truth, try to debate your truth, gaslight your truth, all that shit, they have no choice. Because truth is light. So, all right. I love you guys. Ciao.